How do you last not speaking the language? I guess that's my question, and probably a lot of people question.
Because let me put my phone on silent.
Okay.
Because a lot of people speak English here. So I really never felt the need to learn the language because most people speak English, or they try to, or they at least understand it, which I find fascinating because I always say, like, sometimes I feel ashamed. I'm like, I only really know English. And I think that's why I push so much on my kids. I'm like, y'all learning Tree, you're learning Spanish, you're learning French, because I didn't know it. So I'm pushing everything on them. So it's crazy you said that because we just got back from Abidjan.
Where's that?
Ivory Coast.
Okay.
And they speak French, like.
And you probably would love it when you said,
hey. Yeah. Do you understand French or Creole?
No. I can do a little bit like Jean m'appelle Joey.
Okay, so you know a little bit.
A little bit. Comment allez-vous?
Yeah, so I feel like that's the same with me. My daughter was our translator. I was so proud of her. Like, the way how she would, and at one point, she was translating so much, she was like, Mommy, I'm getting stressed out now. You all like.
and I tell you, learn truth, learn God. What am I needed for? I'm like, you don't need it.
Me? But she understands Tree.
But she understands, but she needed to speak it.
But yeah, that's true. She needs to speak it. But it's most important that she understands, because sometimes that understanding and people are talking around you, it goes a long way.
That's big. Even like being in California, being around Mexicans and stuff. That's one thing I've learned, that we X out. Like, somebody will be speaking around us, speaking about us, we don't know what's going on. We be
Right.
Like,
Right.
Like, a Negro, and you're like,
And
I've learned when I went to Uganda.
Wow.
And that's me and my friend, we learned. So when I came back, I had somebody that was working with me, a Sudanese chick. And so we be in the office and we be like, Mzungu. And then they looking at us like, and it's a joke between us, like, yeah, we talking about white people. So I've learned that the language is powerful because that's what we lost in America. When people come around, we gotta stop talking.
Yeah.
We're gonna be quiet because we don't want them to hear our conversation.
Right.
Or we'll just keep talking.
Right.
And everybody knows, but like people that speak Spanish, when they see us, they'll be speaking English, they'll go right into Spanish.
Right.
And we be X'd out.
Right. And I find that happens here a lot. That happens here a lot. But it's a weird thing. I feel like even though I don't know the language, it's something like I kind of know what they're talking about. I don't know. It's a weird way of, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. But yeah, that happens a lot. But I don't think it's intentional. Or maybe sometimes it is. Maybe sometimes it is. We're in their country. We should learn the language, right? Yeah.
But they don't learn them when they go over there either.
Learn what language? They know how to speak English.
You know what's funny about that? Being in America now, I find myself sounding somewhat like some of the old white people I grew up with. When I be like, no, you need to speak English. You need to speak English. Because even especially in California, there's so much push for Spanish, Mandarin, and as a quote unquote Black American, African American, we just got English. And I've learned working in the employment sector, we are being outclassed.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Because we just gotta get in the general line, as I say, especially in the city and county jobs. You speak Spanish, you get pushed up to help the
Absolutely.
people. You speak Russian, you get pushed up to help the people. You speak Tagalog for Filipinos. There's a job for you. Mandarin, Cantonese, there's a job for you. But it's us, we ain't got no language. So,
so you're at the bottom.
You in the general line, and you still Black. So it's like, and so whoever we go to, even if it is our people, we still got to go through that. They may not even like their job. So,
Yeah.
what you doing?
Yeah.
Help me out. You know, so even we don't have the language, but we got the uniform. Unfortunately, it's still not much value in that to get some
That's what
assistance.
somebody told me the other day. They said, well, when you went to Jamaica, you learned how to speak Jamaican. Well, how
That's
do you
why.
learn how to speak here? But that seemed like Jamaican patois is different from everywhere else.
That's why it's really just broken English, really.
But some of the words.
Yeah, some of the words. Yeah.
But they
It's
say
true.
when you went to Jamaica, you learned the Jamaican language. Why don't you learn this language here? This is different. How long have you been here?
I've been here. I've been about 2 weeks now.
Oh, you came in just as Sala was leaving.
Yes, yes. I seen him because I was originally supposed to be here in December, and then I think I seen him here a few weeks ago. And I was like, man, he posted on the story. I was like, yo, I'm supposed to be in Ghana right now. And he was asking me like, when are you coming? When are you coming? And I told him, he was like, I'm gonna be gone by then.
Yeah.
But no, he's a good dude. I don't know how we connected, but for him, he always gives me a great perspective of those here on the land. So with me and him, we always be chopping up in the DM and just over voice and talking about tangible Pan-Africanism. Because you know, we see a lot of rhetoric, as you see online, there's a lot of rhetoric. But people ain't got passports.
No, right.
So I remember like when I went to Uganda and I did an interview and this guy was he took my video and chopped it up and everything.
Wow.
And, yeah, they've been kicking my back end for a good minute. That's why my post is kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because the guy Chris, the brother in Uganda, asked me why I wasn't married yet, and I was just like, and it's a language barrier, so. I had to speak a little slow, and I was like, for me, there's no good woman in America for me. So this little Haitian guy, who he claimed he Haitian, but I guess now he's Black American with a confused. He took 10 seconds out of a 10-minute video and said, "Oh, he's talking negative about Black women in America."
Oh God.
So that's what he did, and it's like, no, bro. The guy asked me a question. I answered that on my perspective. And due to the language barrier, I'm speaking broken English so he can understand me.
Right.
And it's like, we need to have those conversations to make sense of, well, why are you not married at your age?
Right.
You know, because even the person I was staying with, my friend's cousin, when I told him my age, he was like, you ain't got no kids? I'm like, nah, man. But for me, it was a shock that he had 3 kids with his wife.
How old was he?
I think he was probably like 32 at the time. But then he still had 2 adopted in there. And I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm late. but again, it's all, like I was talking to you earlier, it's about selective childbirthing. I don't want to, just looking at how things are going in America, I just don't want to create a situation that I'm not going to be able to handle, navigate, take care of.
Right. Yeah.
Because the ladies them over there, these nowadays, they don't joke. They just mess with my mind. Because the things that they do, I'm like, I had mine, and I never took them children father to child support, and he wasn't even with us at the time.
Say that again.
I never. I wouldn't even think of it.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, why?
Because I did for myself.
That's right. That's right. So I do for myself. And I think that's great because for us in America, I think we have not learned to keep the system out of our business.
Yes.
And like for me, I was telling the brother last night, I bought some suits from a brother up there, he made them, and he wanted me to do the mobile money, but I'm like, no, I got American cash, he asked for that, I got exactly what he wants. I don't want no fee, I don't want none of that taken out, and I was telling him, we need to learn to just deal with each other.
Yes.
I don't need a European or anybody else in the middle.
Yeah.
Because to me, like at the end of the day, it just says, we got bad negative conflict resolution skills. We should be able to work this out jointly, amicably.
To that point, I feel in Ghana, when it comes to marriage and those type of things, the conflict resolution. Like if a married couple is having an issue, now the family will come in and say like, okay, what's going on? How can we do this? So the family unit can stay together. The separation is the last, the last resort. So yeah, it's also a cultural thing.
In America, if he ain't treating you good, get
rid of that nigga.
Get rid of that. Don't even care. They ain't even think about the children.
Right. We just a byproduct. So, how long have you been married?
February will be 10 years. I honestly can't even believe it myself. Like the other day I was saying, well, we've been together for 14. I was like, oh my God, we've been together for 14 years. Wow. Like, and my mom is looking like, that's nothing. I was like, please. But
I was married to one man for 50 years. 50 years. All down to the children for one man. Hey.
You gotta respect that.
Huh?
You gotta respect that. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. 50 years. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the message? Like, what is the secret for that?
You put up with a whole lot of stuff. You put up with a whole lot of stuff. And I guess for the children's sake, especially if you see that he kind of if he loved the children, or the children love him, you kind of stick it out. You stick it out. Because you don't want the children to be sad. That's it.
Thank you. That's major. 50 years. That seems so forgotten about now. You don't hear no type of relationships lasting like that. What's your advice for me? How can I get something like that? Come to Africa?
I don't know about coming here because the women, if you have stuff, what I've learned since I'm here for the one straight year that I'm here, they'll take your stuff away from you. They'll take you. If you have a house and you don't treat them right or they think you're doing something, they'll take it from you.
Really? So the divorce is that bad? Is divorce rampant here?
I don't know the numbers, but I know a couple of people who are divorced.
Yeah. How does that pan out? Is it as bad as America?
I don't even, you know what, I don't even know. All I know is they're divorced. I don't know if it was a bad whatever, but, yeah, I'm not trying to be divorced. Even though, you know what? I think with marriage, it's not a one-size-fits-all type of situation. And I feel like people should realize that certain things that you would put up with, others might not.
And the your parties are human too. So you have to look at both sides.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. And we was just watching this thing randomly where Michelle Obama was talking to a group of women, and she was talking about marriage, and she was like, there's this concept of marriage being 50-50 when it's never 50-50. It's not like, it's never 50-50. Sometimes you're at 60, sometimes he's at 40, sometimes he's at 80, sometimes you're at 20. And I don't think like the young ones today understand, maybe when you speak to some of them, they don't even want to get married, to be honest. Marriage is not even.
Because in my situation, with my mom and dad, they didn't break up, and that was back in the day. And they had quarrel, and my mama was threatened to go somewhere when she threatened we the children. She ain't going nowhere.
But you just blowing smoke. What are we missing these days in relationships?
Respect. I think it's respect.
Okay, I'm leaning back on that one.
there's got to be a certain amount of respect there. Because you can't just come and say anything to somebody you want. I mean, that person is human and you're human, so you're not going to accept any kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a certain amount of respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For all ways, for all people, all parties, right? Not just women respecting men, but men
Exactly.
respecting their spouses.
Yes, yes, and children too.
Us due to like colonization and slavery, we kind of look at our children as like slaves. And we treat them like slaves, and you hear now, well, I provide, I feed you, and this and that, but that's not parenting. Parenting, you can provide something for somebody, we hear now, protect and provide, but what is providing? What are you providing? Are we just talking about providing a roof and shelter? What about the relationship?
Exactly.
And I think that's one thing we are missing in America. We think just because I provide you food, clothing, and shelter, I'm good. But what about the relationship?
Right.
And the growth and the sustainability.
Yeah.
And feeding the mind that's left out because I'm giving you food, clothing, and shelter. I was like, well, am I an animal? Am I a slave?
Right.
What about my brain?
Right. And when you said that, I thought about there was this whole thing around Akon when he must have said something like going to your children's games or something like that. I don't know exactly what he said. It's European or something like that. And I was just looking like, really?
What?
He was just saying like going to like, let's say it has a tennis match or something, going as a father, going to something like that, it's not necessary. That's what Europeans do.
No, it's necessary.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
Right. Yeah, I think he said that a few weeks ago, I think on Vlad, saying that's European stuff, going to like soccer games and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I played top under football. It's nothing like getting an interception or scoring a touchdown and you look up in the stands and you're that's my boy, like, that's my girl.
Right.
That encouragement, that goes a long way. Because even you see now like a bunch of smart children, they don't have that encouragement to keep going. And I think that kind of leads to like a lot of emotional instability. Of not, if you do, like, we was talking about this yesterday with Ebenezer, like one thing we say about African Americans, we have it hard, but that helps us navigate hardships. You see people, they got all the money, all the this and that, especially in the pandemic, they jumping out of high rises.
Right. Jumping out the window. Right. Yeah.
So it's major.
Yeah.
But Ms. Zinga.
Yes.
So we here, where we at right now?
We're in Accra, Ghana. In my home.
In East Legon.
In East Legon.
So
Yes.
So how long have you been